Hey, y'all. It's a Sunday sidetrack.
Yeah, I thought it was Monday, man. I woke up, I was thinking about going to get the mail. I was checking what time it was, and then I was going like, man, why isn't anybody posting? You know what I mean? I was looking at my news feed on YouTube, and I realized, shit, man, it's fucking Sunday.
It's Sunday. Everyone's hungover.
Yeah, I thought it was Monday.
I'm not, even though we did drink a lot last night.
A day is a day.
Yeah.
It's day. Yeah.
I mean, I still have to kind of keep track because I have to know like what days to put the shows up and whatnot. So
yeah.
I do have to kind of keep track of that kind of shit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I feel like we drank a lot last night. Watched what do you call it? Hills Have Eyes, which Dominic sent us. So that's probably going to be our next movie retrospective. And then for some reason, I was like scrolling through the free to watch movies on YouTube, and on there was the animated movie from the 80s, The Secret of NIMH. And I was like, holy shit, man, I haven't seen that since I was a kid. I wonder, is it still good? Because I saw that movie like a million times when I was growing up, and I read the book and everything and really loved it. And still pretty fucking solid. Yeah. I couldn't, like, the animation is gorgeous. I had forgotten, like, how beautiful that animation was.
Yeah, I forgot how good hand-drawn animation.
Hand-drawn animation, yeah. The voice acting was also terrific. And it was like, it wasn't Disney, it was Don Bluth. I think he's the same guy that did, like, An American Tail and all those kind of ones. So it
had a good score.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a zany, you know what I mean? A little bit darker. It was kind of cool because you were saying about fucking Watership Down. Yeah, and I said this one's kind of like, this one's not as dark as that, but it does have a thing about animal experimentation and death and stuff. Like one of the rats gets like crushed by a fucking cement block, and one gets killed by a cat and all this other kind of stuff.
Is this the same No, there was a German one that was kind of like this, about a bunch of stray cats, and then there was somebody doing experiments.
Felidae?
Yeah, Felidae, that's right. Yeah.
I've only seen bits and pieces of that.
It's supposed to be pretty morbid.
Yeah,
dancing dead cats. And
shit, like I've like on like puppet strings and shit. Yeah. I've seen like clips from it. It looks pretty fucked up. So I'm like amazed that I haven't seen it. Yeah. But that's definitely one that I have to check out. But yeah, so
wouldn't mind seeing Watership Down again though.
That movie that traumatized me when I was a kid. I read the book of that one too when I was little.
I also wouldn't mind talk about animation once. I also wouldn't mind seeing like the original Hobbit. Remember the Hobbit?
Yeah, I really liked that. I saw it a bunch of times.
I remember liking it as a kid. I don't know how it holds up now.
I didn't like the Lord of the Rings one as much.
I liked it, but I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, but the Hobbit one, which wasn't fucking... Who the hell was that? It's not Rankin Bass. It's fucking... shit, now I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, I remember really liking like the ogre song and the voices and stuff. It might be dumb. I don't know. I haven't seen it since I was a kid, but I remember really digging it. Oh, and also, since we're talking about animation... for a long time, like when I was a kid, I grew up and I would see this fucking cartoon that was like, it was Jack and the Beanstalk was what it was, but it had like all these really weird aspects to it. Like it had the giant's name was Tulip, and but the giant had a mom who was like a little bitty like witch named Madame Hecuba. And it was just this really, really weird, like, but I loved it.
What was it called again?
It was Jack and the Beanstalk.
Oh, okay.
Jack and the Beanstalk. And so...
Hecuba kind of reminded me of something else. There was like a Japanese cartoon.
Well, this, I didn't know it at the time, but this was Japanese. Okay. It had just been dubbed into English, and I wasn't aware of that because I was a kid. I didn't know anything about, like, fucking anime or, like, Japanese anything. And there was also, there was, like, this witch, and then there was, like, a princess. And the witch was, like, keeping the princess, like, under spell and, like, making her, like, marry the giant so the witch could run the kingdom of the clouds or whatever, even though it didn't look like anybody else was there. But it just had these really, really great, like, creepy sequences. And then for a long time, like, I saw it a million times, like, on cable when I was growing up. And then later I would, like, tell other people about it, and they'd look at me like I had fucking underwear on my head. Like, they didn't, like, you are tripping. You, like, must have imagined that. But then one day I was, like, I said, I'm going to look for that shit. So I looked for it on YouTube, and I found it. And I was like, aha, see? I didn't make it up. But then that's when I kind of, like, researched it and found out that it was actually Japanese and had been dubbed into English, which is why it had, like, all this really weird shit in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the witch turned out to be, spoiler alert, mechanical.
See, it sounds like something I vaguely remember, but I thought it was called Magnificat.
No.
and it was Japanese, but it had been dubbed into English, and it didn't make any fucking sense. And I might be getting it mistaken for that one.
Yeah.
I think I've seen that as a kid.
This makes sense. It was Jack and the Beanstalk. It just had like all these other weird like elements.
That name Hecuba, I remember it, and I remember it being a robot. Or something was a robot in there.
Yeah, she was like clockwork or mechanical or something. Like the giant stepped on her at the end, and she was like
Springs
mechanical.
Fucking came out and shit.
Yeah,
remember that?
It was just like a really fucking
I saw
weird.
that one, but there was another one about Miss Magnificat or Magnificat. Maybe that was a character out of some kind of Jap. It looked like a Western cartoon.
Yeah,
something from America, like a Walt Disney, but it was actually a Japanese fake.
That's what this one was too. It was they were definitely trying to
look like Disney,
look like it, but it still had like some. In hindsight, it still had like a
lot of Japanese,
some
stuff
Japanese, like the the girl with the big eyes and like the little pointy hair.
And the storytelling was like Japanese.
Yeah,
the crazy way they tell stories.
Yeah,
just all across the board. You know what I mean? There's no real middle ending, no beginning, middle, or end to the stories. It's just a bunch of stories.
Yeah, told
in a string.
This one this one had music too. It was a musical. Yeah. It had songs and stuff, but it was really creepy. It's really good actually.
I think there's more than one of those, and I remember them both.
Probably.
Vaguely.
I think they were trying to like get into the Disney style market and trying to like appeal to a wider audience or to a Western audience. I think
first started appearing like in the late 70s, early 80s. That's where I remember
because
it from.
I think this Jack and the Beanstalk, when I looked it up, I think it came out in 1977. I want to say, or something like that.
I remember that. Like those crazy-ass fucking Russian movies.
Yeah.
That they tell you this shit's Sinbad. And they're like, that's Sinbad? It's fucking up in the north, the ice, and fucking...
Yeah, it's clearly not Sinbad.
Santa Claus, and you think it's you guess it's Santa Claus, the way he looks like. Fucking, they're calling him Sinbad, but he's dressed like fucking Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And he's up in the ice. And he's fighting Baba Yaga, a fucking house with fucking feet on it and shit, chicken feet. You know what I mean? And you're like fucking 7 or 8. Your mind is fucking blown. You're like, I didn't know.
Who knew Sinbad was so white?
Yeah. Who knew Sinbad was also Santa Claus? And he fought witches.
Well, Sinbad, Sinterklaas,
Yeah, because I loved those Ray Harryhausen Sinbad movies, man.
Yeah, me too.
Sinbad, Eye of the Tiger, Sinbad and the fucking Seven Sin, the Sinbad and the Sin. I'm just making up Sinbad words. Sinbad and the O. Henry Bar. Sinbad and my stocking cap. They just had all that kind of shit.
I love it.
My pretty ass little babysitter. My babysitter.
Kimmy.
Yeah, Kimmy. I showed her a picture of Kimmy. Yeah. I inherited a photo of Kimmy. And I said she looked like Princess Leia. I thought she was Princess Leia, basically, to me. When I was a little kid, she used to drag me around. How old was she in the photo? Probably about 13?
Something like that.
Yeah, she's about 13. And I just thought she was just all pretty girls were a 10 when I was 7 or 8.
Yeah,
they were all 10.
Isn't that kind of neat though? Yeah, like when you're a kid, because because you haven't seen a lot of people in your life.
10.
So it's just like every time you see a pretty girl, you're like, she's the most beautiful girl ever.
I love you. 10. It's either you don't notice her or it's 10.
Yeah. There's no in between. There's no she's all right.
Yeah. But no, she was as cute as I remembered her though when I dug it up. She's like, she did look like a young Princess Leia.
Oh, that's adorable.
Didn't she look like Carrie Fisher a little bit?
She did a bit,
like a 13-year-old Carrie Fisher, 12-year-old.
I was gonna those Russian movies. They did a couple of those on Mystery Science Theater. Jack Frost and Sword and the Dragon. Yeah. I can't remember which one it was, but they did one where they had that where there was like a Sinbad-y type character, but he wasn't like. I think it was called Sword and the Dragon.
Well, Kimmy took me to see Sinbad. When she was babysitting.
I saw Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. I'm pretty sure I saw that in the theater, but I don't think I saw the other ones in the theater.
Back in the days when we grew up, you know what I mean? You had babysitters. And really what a babysitter was is that your mom tossed you to some teenage girls. And they just ran around with you all day. Remember that? Well, you probably.
Well, I was a teenage girl. So. Yeah, you were. Well, and I was the oldest of my siblings too.
Yeah. Okay. So it was different for you.
So yeah.
I was an only child, so you know what I mean, and fucking. On my block was nothing but teenage girls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So my mom said,
little baby Toms running around wild.
Baby Tom. I was fucking baby Tom was popular, man. I was like a living doll.
Well, you were a cute little kid.
Yeah, they used to take me up there into their fucking room. They'd be putting on Led Zeppelin, Houses of the Holy and shit, and smoking weed and the fucking.
And you'd be like,
I'm like, wow, what is that? What is that? Oh, you don't want any of this. You know what I mean? Fucking, they'd have the damn black light posters on and shit. I'm fucking tripping on the black light posters.
Don't want Baby Tom Bogart in the weed.
Yeah. And then let's go see Sinbad. You know what I mean? I didn't realize they were high. This is fucking California, man.
That's how shit goes.
Yeah.
Know? But yeah. I meant to do this yesterday and I feel really bad. One of our patrons and listeners, Matthew, who's in Australia, he had asked me yesterday to shout out ANZAC Day. I guess that's how you pronounce it, which is kind of like the Australian Memorial Day. You know what I mean? Was, the people that have died in wars and stuff. And I meant to do it yesterday, and then we recorded the Sidetracks, and 5 minutes later I was like, fuck, I forgot. Yeah. So I said, well, I'll do it today. So happy late ANZAC Day to all our Australian listeners out there.
The Australian Armed Forces served alongside us with pride and distinction in almost every major theater. Wherever we were, the Australians were also there. Even in Vietnam. And a lot of people don't know, I brought this to Sophie the other day. I go on about the Koreans. People always talk about the United States and Vietnam. What a mistake it was. It was a mistake. That was fucking stupid. The way they were trying to conduct that shit over there. And just the whole meaning behind that. I mean, anyway. A lot of people don't know that there were more Koreans in there fighting alongside us than there were Americans.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, there were certain times there were more Korean troops by a substantial margin than there were Americans.
Well, that makes sense.
It was the Koreans doing all the heavy lifting. And a lot of it had to do, they had a lot of advantage over American troops, you know what I mean? They weren't scared of Vietnam. They were a new army. They were 100% backed and funded by the U.S. government. So they were sending Korea's best. And at that time, America really wasn't sending its best. They were just sending conscripts, guys that were drafted.
Yeah.
Not in Korea was taking volunteers. Because that's big money to be a soldier in Korea. So they were kind of like a professional army. Mercenaries.
Yeah.
Basically is a good way to put it. And the fucking Koreans, they were effective. You'd send an American unit out into an area to look for the enemy, they wouldn't find them. You'd send the Koreans in there fucking the next day, and they'd come out there with all kinds of fucking weapons, and they'd find every bit of that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing. They weren't afraid. And they were professionals. The American guys, most of them were just trying to bide their time to get in and out. They really weren't putting a lot of effort into it.
Which you can't really blame them. I mean, they kind of got suckered into it.
Yeah, they were forced.
Right.
You had to go. A big difference. And based on the back of that experience, the United States Army realized that you don't really want conscripts.
No.
You want guys that want to be there.
That want to be there.
And you just pay them well. And then contractors come into play and other things that are like contractors. So, but yeah, Australia was there, and Australia fucking probably similar to the Koreans in terms of they were probably volunteers.
Yeah.
Because maybe they weren't, but it would be more likely. I'd have to go back and look in history. It'd be more likely that maybe they were drafted into Australian service, but you probably had to semi-volunteer for certain kind of units that went to Vietnam. But you'd have to check.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, so I don't really want to.
Yeah,
I don't want to say one way or the other because I don't really know.
Usually, the pattern is that basically they're fighting America's war. You know what I mean? So when you have an allied country fighting one of our wars with it, they don't really like to draft some guys off the damn street, and say, "Here, go over there and help fight America's war." They don't really like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They like to send some guy who's a little more professional and just, has a different... Who's getting paid well, you know what I mean? And who wants to be there for his career. It's like a career move.
Yeah.
Usually special forces type troops is what you're talking about usually.
Yeah. So what else we got to talk about? Probably nothing. I wanted to say this morning... You came into my office this morning and said... Because Pooky was being cute. She's always being cute. But he said that...
Yeah.
She went to, we have the sliding glass doors or whatever, and there's, a blackout curtain over it, and she goes, underneath the curtain so she can look outside, look out into the backyard. And apparently, she just decided she didn't want to go outside or anything like that. Yeah. She was just sitting by the window looking out, and she was, talking to the outside.
She wasn't sitting, though. She was laying and had her back feet up on the glass.
Yeah.
And looking out, and she goes, meow, Mew. Mew. I said, you happy? Mew.
Hello outside.
Yeah, hello outside. Yeah, it's fucking fun. We're telling cat stories.
Well, I've
never seen her do that, so
I know that's very weird. I've never seen her do that either. It's like usually, I mean, she'll like talk to you if you like. Sometimes if you talk to her, she'll answer you.
Yeah,
in her
talking
little voice.
outside.
I said that this morning she was like in the closet and she's like sticking her butt up, like when you like pet her and stuff. Yeah. And I started because you had done like you were singing Copacabana to her, except putting Pooky in there.
Yeah.
And I guess so. I was thinking of like Barry Manilow or Neil Diamond or whoever the hell it is, and I started singing that song Mandy, except with Pooky.
I forgot that one.
Yeah, and then so I just thought that was really funny. You came and you showed me your booty.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's Barry Manilow, right? Because
I don't know, but I remember that
song. Fun fact, my sister Amanda is named after that song.
Okay.
And she hated that song so much that she refuses to let anybody call her Mandy to this day.
Damn.
She's Amanda or Manda. She doesn't like Mandy because she just doesn't like that song and she's mad that my parents named her after it. All right, so you want to wrap up the Sunday? All right, so
that's all I gotta say. Yeah,
we will talk to you guys again tomorrow. So everybody stay safe and healthy out there. See ya.